The scream ripped through the hallway. The scream ripped through the hallway like a crack of lightning, sharp, terrified, desperate. It was so piercing that even the children who were used to chaos froze in place. A plastic toy dropped to the floor and bounced twice before rolling under a table. One of the caretakers gasped and instinctively stepped back, pressing her hand against her chest. David Beckham had just arrived at the St. Mary's Children's Shelter in Los Angeles when the scream erupted. He had barely walked past the reception desk when he heard it, raw, trembling, and filled with a pain that no child should ever know. "What was that?" Beckham asked, turning sharply. The staff exchanged glances, their faces tightening. No one answered. No one wanted to answer. The scream came again. Beckham didn't wait. His instincts, those same instincts that once made him legendary on the field, kicked in with full force. He sprinted down the hall toward the sound, his boots echoing against the old linoleum floor. He reached a small door with chipped white paint. A caretaker stood in front of it, breathing hard, panic in her eyes. "You shouldn't go in," she whispered. Beckham ignored the warning. He pushed the door open. Inside, curled in the darkest corner of the room, was a little girl no older than 5. But her face was something no one could have prepared for. Her skin was deeply wrinkled, folded, sagging like the skin of an elderly woman. Her eyelids drooped, her cheeks fell, her mouth turned downwards. The room's dim light carved shadows into the valleys of her face, making her look even older, like someone trapped inside a body that didn't belong to her. She was shaking violently. Her hands covered her ears. Her knees pressed against her chest in terror. The caretaker whispered behind Beckham. She heard footsteps in the hall and thought someone came to stare at her again. Beckham looked back at the woman. "Again? She scares people. The kids don't play with her. Some staff avoid her. She overhears things. She thinks everyone hates her." Another scream burst from the girl's chest. This one quieter but sharper, like the cry of someone who had been taught to fear their own existence. Beckham knelt slowly beside the door, not entering fully, not yet wanting to overwhelm her. "Hey," he said gently. "It's okay. You're safe." The girl flinched at the sound of his voice. She pressed harder into the wall, burying her face in her little hands that had the same wrinkled texture as her face. Her name was Emma. He didn't know that yet. He didn't know anything about her. But something inside him, some deep instinct, told him that this wasn't just fear. This was a soul begging to be seen, not stared at. The caretaker tugged Beckham's sleeve. "Please just leave her. She gets worse when people look." Beckham shook his head softly. No one gets better when they're abandoned. He took one slow breath, then another, grounding himself. He stepped inside. The room felt colder than the rest of the shelter, as if the shadows themselves had learned to settle here. There were no toys, no drawings on the walls, none of the colors that filled the other children's spaces. Just an old bed, a blanket folded neatly, and a single stuffed rabbit missing an ear. Beckham sat down on the floor with his back against the wall, leaving plenty of distance between them. "You don't have to look at me," he said quietly, "but I'm going to sit here, just for a little while. If that's okay with you." The little girl trembled. He continued softly, letting his voice become a blanket instead of an intrusion. "I heard you were scared, and I know how that feels. Maybe not the same way you do, but I know fear. I know what it's like when the world feels too big." Her trembling slowed. Not stopped, just slowed. He took that as a sign to keep going. "I'm David," he said. "I come here sometimes to help the kids. But I've never met you before." A tiny voice, barely audible, escaped from beneath her hands. Don't look at me." Beckham's chest tightened. "Okay," he said. "I won't. I promise." He turned his head slightly away, giving her the control she had never been given. "Everyone stares," she whispered shakily. "When they see me, they scream. They laugh. They say I'm scary." Beckham felt his jaw clench, anger rising like a tide. Children weren't born cruel, but they learned it from somewhere. "What's your name?" he asked softly. The girl hesitated for a long moment. Finally she murmured, "Emma?" He smiled, not a big smile, not something bright that might scare her. Just a small, warm smile meant only for her ears to feel. "That's a beautiful name." She shook her head violently. "No, it's not. Nothing about me is beautiful." Beckham didn't move closer. That would have frightened her. But every word he spoke carried the quiet weight of truth. "You know," he said softly, "sometimes people are afraid of what they don't understand. And sometimes, they forget how to be kind." Emma's breathing became uneven. "My parents didn't want me, because I look like this." The room fell silent. The caretaker looked away, tears swelling in her eyes. "They left me," Emma whispered. "They said I would suffer less if they didn't keep me." Beckham felt something inside him shatter. He had seen poverty. He had seen children hurting around the world. But nothing prepared him for a 5-year-old who believed she deserved to be thrown away. He swallowed hard, forcing his voice to remain calm. "They were wrong." Emma shifted slightly. "No one wants me. People think I'm a monster." "You're not," Beckham said immediately. "How do you know?" she shot back, her voice breaking mid-sentence. "Because I'm sitting right here," he replied. "And I'm not afraid." Emma lifted her head a few inches, just enough for Beckham to see one eye peeking through her fingers. Her pupils were wide, filled with fear and disbelief. I'm not scared?" she whispered. "No," he said. "I'm not scared of you. Not even a little." Emma's breathing hitched. She stared at him for several long seconds, long enough for her to search his face for any sign of disgust or pity. She found none. Beckham shifted his posture, crossing his legs and resting his hands on his knees. "You know," he said gently, "when I was little, I got made fun of too." Emma blinked. "You did?" "Yeah," he chuckled softly. "Kids made fun of my hair, my accent, my dream of playing soccer. They said I wasn't good enough." "That's not the same," she said, her voice barely above a whisper. "No," Beckham admitted. "It's not. But the feeling of everyone looking at you like you don't belong, that's something I understand." Emma lowered her hands a little. Half her face was visible now. The wrinkles, the sagging skin, the folds around her lips, all of it heartbreaking, all of it real. "Why did you come in here?" she asked. "Because you were alone," Beckham replied. "And no child should ever face fear alone." Another long silence. Then Emma, slowly, very slowly, extended one tiny hand toward him. Her fingers were thin, the skin folded like layers of delicate paper. Beckham didn't grab her hand. He offered his instead, open, gentle, allowing her to choose. She hesitated. Then, with the caution of someone touching fire, she placed her hand in his. It was trembling. It was cold. But it was a beginning. Beckham closed his fingers softly around hers. Not tightly, not firmly, but with enough warmth to let her know she wasn't alone. Emma whispered, "Why are you being nice to me?" He smiled, just enough for her to hear it in his voice. "Because you deserve someone to be." Emma stared at their joined hands. For the first time in her 5 years of life, someone was holding her not with fear or hesitation, but with acceptance. The caretaker stepped back, covering her mouth as tears spilled silently down her cheeks. Beckham leaned his head back against the wall and spoke softly. "I'm going to come back tomorrow, okay? And the next day, and the next, as long as you want me to." Emma's voice broke. "No one ever comes back." "I will," he said firmly. "I'm not going anywhere." Her lips trembled. "Promise?" "I promise." Emma let out a long, shaky breath, and then her body finally relaxed. Her little fingers held onto his as if she had found something she didn't know existed. Safety. Beckham didn't move until she did. He just stayed there, quietly, letting her feel something she had never felt before. That someone saw her. Not the disease, not the wrinkles, not the fear, but her. A little girl named Emma. A child worth loving. And so, in a tiny dark room at a forgotten shelter in Los Angeles, a bond was born. One that would change both their lives forever. The world would one day call her transformation a miracle. But the truth is, the miracle began right there with a scream. And with the one man who chose to walk toward it instead of away. The man who didn't look away. The next morning came with a soft gray light settling over Los Angeles, the kind that blurred the edges of buildings and made the whole city feel quieter than usual. At St. Mary's Children's Shelter, breakfast time was underway, clinking spoons, chatter from the children, the occasional thud of a milk carton hitting the table. But in one room at the far end of the hallway, things were different. Emma was awake long before the other kids. She hadn't screamed today. She hadn't curled into her usual corner. She was simply sitting on her small bed, legs dangling, holding the stuffed rabbit with one ear missing. She kept replaying the moment from the day before. The man who didn't run. The man who didn't gasp. The man who didn't stare. The man who promised to return. Every few seconds she turned toward the door, as if willing it to open. Joanna, one of the caretakers, watched from the hallway. She had worked at the shelter for nearly a decade, long enough to witness countless stories, some heartbreaking, some inspiring. But Emma's story, this one felt different. This one felt like it was shifting right before her eyes. "You're waiting for him, aren't you?" Joanna asked softly as she stepped inside. Emma hugged her rabbit tighter and nodded without looking up. "He'll come," Joanna said gently. Emma finally turned her head. "People say that. They don't mean it." "This time," Joanna replied, "I think he meant every word." Emma lowered her gaze to her feet. "What if he saw me better yesterday? What if today he looks again and changes his mind?" Joanna's heart tightened. "You think he'll be scared?" Emma's voice cracked. "Everyone is scared." Before Joanna could respond, footsteps echoed down the hallway, slow, steady, confident. Not hurried, not fearful. Emma's head snapped up. The door opened. David Beckham slipped inside, still wearing a plain white t-shirt, jeans, and a soft smile that made the room feel warmer instantly. "Hey Emma," he said softly. Her breath caught. "You came back. You really came back. You're here," she whispered, as if afraid saying it too loudly might make him disappear. "Told you I would be." Beckham walked in slowly, making sure not to overwhelm her. "I don't break promises." Emma looked at him for a long moment, long enough to convince herself he was real, before hugging her rabbit again like a shield. "I thought, maybe you'd forget." Beckham shook his head. "I didn't forget. Actually, I was thinking about you all night." Emma blinked, startled. "Me? Yeah, you were pretty brave yesterday." Emma scrunched her eyebrows, confused. "I screamed." "But then," Beckham said, sitting on the floor again, "you held my hand." Emma stared at the carpet, her cheeks reddening beneath the folds of skin. "That wasn't brave," she murmured. "I was scared." "Being brave doesn't mean you're not scared," Beckham replied gently. "It means you do something even though you're scared." Emma looked up, her wrinkled eyelids lifting slowly, revealing eyes full of disbelief and a flicker of something else. "Hope. You really think I'm brave?" "I know you are." Silence settled again, but it was a softer silence than any Emma had ever known. After a moment, Beckham pulled something out of his bag. "I brought you something." Emma immediately tensed. "Why?" He smiled. "Because friends bring each other things." Her breathing hitched. "Friends?" "If you want," he added, giving her room to choose. Emma didn't answer with words. She simply watched as Beckham placed the object gently on the floor in front of her. It was a coloring book, not one filled with princesses or superheroes, but a book of animals, each one drawn in gentle, rounded designs. Along with it was a small box of crayons and pastel colors. "I didn't know what you liked," Beckham said, "but I thought animals were a good place to start." Emma hesitated, her hands hovering above the coloring book but not touching it. "Is it mine?" "Only if you want it to be." She looked up again. "No one ever gives me things." "That's going to change," Beckham said softly. Emma finally touched the cover, tracing a giraffe with her small wrinkled finger. Her breathing slowed. The tension in her shoulders faded bit by bit. After a moment, she whispered, "Thank you." Her voice was small, fragile, but warm. Beckham noticed Joanna quietly wiping her eyes in the doorway. They moved to the small table in the corner of the room. Beckham pulled up a chair, letting Emma have the seat closest to the window. The morning sun filtered through, creating a gentle glow around her. Emma held a crayon between her fingers awkwardly, unsure where to begin. "Here," Beckham said, flipping to a page with a turtle. "Maybe start with this one. Turtles are pretty cool." Emma looked at him, confused. "Why?" "They carry their home on their back," he said. "Pretty brave, don't you think?" Emma stared at the picture, then at him, and slowly, very slowly, began to color. Her hand trembled at first, but as Beckham began talking to her about animals, soccer, and silly things from his childhood, her coloring became steadier. She asked questions quietly. "What's London like? Do the stars look different there? Why do people like soccer so much? Does your daughter look like a normal girl?" Beckham answered each question gently, carefully, never rushing her, never speaking down to her. But when she asked the last one, he paused. "Yes," he said softly. "Harper looks like a regular girl. But that doesn't make her more valuable than you." Emma's crayon dropped to the table. "No one ever said that," she whispered. "Well," Beckham replied, "then the people around you weren't paying attention." Emma swallowed hard, her throat tightening. "Do you really think I matter?" "Absolutely." Her eyes glistened, tears slipping quietly from the folds of her cheeks. She tried wiping them away quickly, embarrassed. "Hey," Beckham said gently, "crying doesn't make you weak." She shook her head. "No, I don't want you to think I'm sad." "It's okay to be sad," he whispered. "You've had to be strong for a long time." Emma dropped her head. I don't know how to be around people, she confessed. Everyone stares. Let them look, Beckham said calmly. They'll learn to see you differently. Emma frowned. How? Because I'll be right there with you. Her breathing stopped completely for a moment. Everywhere? She asked hopefully. Wherever you need me, Beckham answered. The next few days became a rhythm. Beckham visited Emma every afternoon. The staff quickly noticed the changes. Emma no longer hid in the corner. She didn't scream when footsteps echoed. She even walked to the cafeteria, slowly, timidly, but she walked. The other kids still stared, but Beckham's presence softened their reactions. Some even tried talking to her for the first time. Emma didn't always respond, but progress was progress. One day, Beckham arrived with a soccer ball under his arm. Emma froze when she saw it. I can't play. Who said that? Beckham asked. My body is different. I get tired. People laugh. Good thing I'm not people, Beckham winked. He took her to the small playground outside. The sun was warm. Children ran around shouting and laughing. Emma clutched the ball to her chest. What do I do? Beckham knelt to her level. You don't have to kick it far. Just tap it back to me. Emma hesitated, then gently nudged the ball with her foot. It moved 3 inches. Beckham reacted like she'd just scored the winning goal in a World Cup final. Yes. Emma, that was amazing. Emma stared at him, stunned. That was nothing. That was courage, Beckham corrected. She kicked again, a little harder. The ball rolled several feet. Beckham's smile grew. You're a natural. Emma giggled, a sound so pure that it made one of the caretakers put her hand over her heart. Another child approached timidly. Can I play too? Emma froze. Her instinct screamed no. Her fear whispered hide. But then she looked at Beckham. He nodded gently. You can say no if you want. But you don't have to. Emma swallowed hard and whispered, okay. And for the first time in her life, Emma played with someone her age. Not perfectly, not confidently, but she played. And Beckham watched with the quiet pride of someone watching a miracle unfold inch by inch. One evening, after everyone else had gone to bed, Beckham stayed in the common room with a cup of tea. Joanna approached, sitting beside him. You're doing something incredible here, she said softly. He shook his head. She's doing the incredible part. I'm just showing up. Joanna smiled sadly. For a child like Emma, that's more than enough. Beckham stared at his tea for a long moment before asking, what exactly happened to her parents? Joanna sighed. They didn't know how to handle her condition. They panicked. They thought giving her up was an act of mercy. Mercy? Beckham scoffed quietly. Abandoning a child is never mercy. I agree, Joanna said. But not everyone has the strength to face what she looks like. Beckham clenched his jaw. I'm not going anywhere. Joanna nodded. She needs you. More than you know. Over the next several weeks, Emma transformed in small yet beautiful ways. She began eating meals with the other children. She drew pictures and showed them shyly to Beckham. She asked him questions about life, about his family, about the world beyond the shelter. But the most significant change came one morning when Beckham walked in and found Emma standing in front of a mirror. She wasn't crying. She wasn't turning away. She was just looking, studying her own reflection with curiosity instead of fear. Do you like what you see? Beckham asked softly. Emma shook her head. Not yet. But I want to. He nodded. And I'll help you. Emma's voice was barely a whisper. Will you stay for a long time? As long as you need, he said. She bit her lip, then stepped forward, and did something she had never done before. She wrapped her arms around him. It was awkward. It was gentle. It was trembling. But it was real. Beckham knelt and hugged her back, carefully, protectively, as though she were made of spun glass. In that moment, Emma wasn't the girl with the wrinkled skin or the child who hid from the world. She was just a little girl in the arms of someone who saw her. Someone who believed in her. Someone who cared. And somewhere deep inside her chest, something bloomed, a feeling she had never known before. But this was only the beginning. Soon, Beckham would take her to meet specialists. Soon, her transformation inside and out would begin. But for now, for this moment, Emma finally felt safe. And Beckham finally realized he wasn't just helping a little girl. He was being changed too. Beckham begins the journey that will change Emma's future forever. The morning air in Los Angeles carried a strange, electric feeling, the kind that hinted something important was coming. At St. Mary's Children's Shelter, children were running around the courtyard, laughter filling the air. But inside one of the small rooms, away from the noise, Emma sat on the edge of her bed, waiting with a mix of hope and fear swirling in her chest. Today would be different. Today, Beckham wasn't just visiting to play, talk, or bring coloring books. Today, he was taking her to meet the doctors. She didn't fully understand what that meant, but she knew it mattered. For weeks, she had listened as Beckham gently explained things. Not everything at once, not in ways that overwhelmed her, but slowly, piece by piece. He talked about special doctors, about treatments, about a plan, about making life better. Emma didn't dare hope too much. Hope had betrayed her once. Hope had told her that parents always come back, that people always mean well, that pain goes away if you pretend hard enough. But Beckham's presence had rewritten the meaning of hope. She looked down at the little stuffed rabbit Beckham had bought her on his second week of visiting. She had named it Sunny, because Beckham once told her that even on the darkest days, the sun is still out there somewhere. You just have to wait long enough to feel it again. A soft knock sounded at the door. Emma's breath caught. "Come in," she whispered. The door opened slowly, and Beckham stepped inside wearing a simple gray hoodie and jeans. His hair was tied back in a loose knot, and he carried a calm, reassuring smile that made the room feel brighter. "Good morning, sunshine," he said gently. Emma clutched her rabbit. "Are we really going today?" He nodded. "We are. But remember, today is just talking. No needles, no machines, nothing scary. Just meeting some very smart people who want to help." Emma's hands trembled slightly, but she nodded. Joanna, standing behind Beckham, added softly, "It's a big step, sweetheart. But you're not alone." Emma glanced between them, Joanna's warm encouragement, Beckham's steady presence, and felt a kind of strength she didn't recognize. "I'm ready," she whispered. The drive to the medical center in Beverly Hills took nearly 40 minutes. Emma sat in the back seat, holding Sunny tightly in her lap. She kept staring out the window, watching the world pass by, a world she had hardly experienced beyond the shelter's block. Palm trees swayed gently in the California breeze. People walked dogs, jogged with headphones on, laughed with friends. Children held their parents' hands as they crossed the street. The city felt alive, too alive, almost overwhelming. Beckham glanced at her through the rearview mirror. "You doing okay back there?" Emma nodded. "Yes, it's just loud." He smiled. "The world can be loud, but you'll get used to it." Her voice softened. "I hope so." Beckham's heart tightened. "And when it gets too loud, you just hold on to someone you trust. Deal?" She looked at him in the mirror and whispered, "Deal." The medical center was large, modern, with glass walls and bright marble floors. Everything felt expensive, polished, intimidating. Emma's small hand tightened around Sunny as they stepped inside. Several people turned their heads, first toward Beckham, recognizing him, then toward Emma. Some stared longer than necessary. Beckham noticed every single glance. He placed his hand gently on Emma's shoulder. "Eyes on me, okay?" he whispered. Emma nodded quickly. "Okay." A nurse approached them with a friendly smile. "Mr. Beckham, right this way. Dr. Reynolds and Dr. Parker are expecting you." Beckham motioned for Emma to walk beside him. As they entered the consultation room, two doctors greeted them warmly. Dr. Reynolds, a woman in her mid-50s with kind eyes, knelt down to be eye level with Emma. "You must be Emma," she said with a gentle smile. "I've heard so many wonderful things about you." Emma blinked, confused. "You have?" "Yes," Dr. Reynolds nodded. "I hear you're brave, and funny, and that you love to draw." Emma's cheeks flushed slightly. Nobody outside the shelter had ever said such things to her. Beckham gave her a small wink. "And this must be Sunny," Dr. Parker added playfully, pointing at her rabbit. "We'll make sure he's comfortable too." Emma hugged the stuffed animal closer. "He doesn't like hospitals." "Well," Dr. Parker smiled, "then we'll make him feel at home." The doctors led them to a softly lit room with colorful posters and calming music playing quietly in the background. Nothing looked sharp or frightening. It didn't feel like a hospital at all. Dr. Reynolds sat across from Emma. "I want to learn about you," she said, "and I want you to tell me if anything hurts or feels uncomfortable or bothers you." Emma hesitated. Beckham gently placed his hand on her back. "It's okay," he said. She nodded. "My skin. Sometimes it hurts," Emma admitted. "And it feels tight. And I get tired a lot." Dr. Parker took notes carefully. "That makes sense," he said. "Your condition can make your skin work harder than it should. And your muscles too." Emma swallowed. "Can it get better?" Dr. Reynolds exchanged a meaningful glance with Beckham before answering. It won't be easy, she said softly. But yes, with the right treatment, with time, with patience, things can get better. Emma's breath trembled with the weight of that possibility. But I won't look like other kids, right? The room went silent. Beckham stepped in gently. You might not look exactly like every other kid, but you can look like you. Healthier, happier, stronger. And one day, maybe you'll recognize yourself in the mirror again. Emma looked down. I don't recognize myself now. Beckham knelt beside her. I know, and that's why we're here. The next few months unfolded like a long, emotional journey. Beckham became a consistent part of Emma's world, more consistent than anyone had ever been. He drove her to every medical appointment, sat with her during long tests, distracted her with stories when she felt scared, and brought her favorite snacks after exhausting days. He never complained, never acted inconvenienced, never made her feel like a burden. If anything, he seemed more present than ever. Emma's treatments began slowly. Nutritional support, vitamin therapy, special skincare regimens, physical therapy to strengthen her muscles, sessions with child psychologists who helped her understand that her illness wasn't her fault. Beckham attended those too. Sometimes he sat quietly in the corner, listening with aching understanding. Other times he took Emma's hand when her voice trembled. And sometimes, he had to step out into the hallway to wipe his eyes before returning with a smile. But he never missed a session. Not once. One afternoon, after a particularly difficult physical therapy session, Emma slumped miserably in the car. Why is this so hard? She muttered. Beckham put the car in park and turned toward her. Because you're doing something amazing, he said. Your body has been fighting alone for years. Now it finally has help, but it needs time to adjust. Emma wiped her eyes. I don't feel amazing. You don't have to, Beckham said softly. That's my job, to remind you. He handed her a small paper bag. What's this? She asked. Your reward. Inside was a cupcake with pink frosting and rainbow sprinkles. Emma gasped. For me? For you, Beckham said. Because today was tough, and you got through it. Emma held the cupcake like a treasure. Thank you, she whispered. Always. But not every day was sweet. Some days, Emma woke up crying because her skin hurt too much. Other days, she didn't want to attend therapy because she was tired of strangers touching her. And some nights, she whispered to Beckham, trembling, what if I never change? What if I'm stuck like this forever? And Beckham always answered the same. You're not stuck. You're growing. And I'm here. When Emma turned 12, the doctor said she was healthy and strong enough for the next phase. Reconstructive procedures, skin tightening, therapies to improve elasticity and appearance, surgeries. Sounded terrifying. For 3 nights, Emma couldn't sleep. She sat by her window, hugging Sonny, convinced she wasn't strong enough. On the 4th night, Beckham visited the shelter after training. He found her awake, staring at the moon. Hard night? He asked. Emma nodded. Everything is changing, she whispered. But what if it doesn't work? What if it makes things worse? Beckham sat beside her, pulling his knees up to his chest. You don't have to be fearless, Emma. You just need to let me be scared with you. She rested her head carefully on his shoulder, a gesture she had only started doing recently. Will you stay with me during the surgery? Every second, Beckham promised. And when you wake up, I'll be right there. Her voice was quiet, fragile. You never go away. No, Beckham said with certainty. I don't. And she believed him. The surgeries began, one by one, carefully planned, months apart. Each one designed to improve Emma's quality of life, reduce pain, and help her look closer to her age. Recovery was painful. Some days she couldn't move her face without wincing. Some days she begged the doctors to stop. Some days she cried in Beckham's arms. But through it all he stayed. Sometimes he read to her. Sometimes he made her laugh with ridiculous stories about soccer disasters. Sometimes he just sat quietly, letting her lean on him. And slowly, miraculously, Emma began to change. Her skin smoothed. The deep wrinkles faded. The sagging around her eyes lifted. Her features grew softer, more youthful. Her eyes shone with a light that had once been buried deep inside. She wasn't normal. She wasn't perfect. She was Emma, healthier, stronger, more alive. And Beckham was there to witness every step. The years passed. Emma went from the scared 5-year-old hidden in a dark corner to a bright, confident teenager who loved art, books, and music. She volunteered at the shelter. She helped younger kids with their homework. She even played soccer in the courtyard sometimes. still timid, still careful, but smiling. She became someone the world would soon call a miracle. But for Beckham, she was simply Emma. The girl who taught him more about courage than any athlete ever could. And the girl he promised to help, until she no longer needed saving. The day Emma returned, the sky over Los Angeles carried a soft golden glow, a gentle warmth that hinted at summer but wasn't quite there yet. It felt like the kind of day that made people pause, breathe deeper, and believe that good things might happen. And today good things would happen. At St. Mary's Children's Shelter, the courtyard was alive with motion. Children ran across the old concrete pavement, drawing chalk pictures, chasing each other, shouting with the kind of joy only kids could create. A faint breeze rustled the leaves of the single oak tree that had stood there longer than anyone could remember. Inside the shelter, Joanna stood near the front entrance, nervously holding a clipboard she didn't need. Her smile was too wide, her eyes too bright. "Is everything ready?" she asked one of the volunteers for the fourth time. "Yes, Joanna," the volunteer replied, amused. "Everything's perfect." "Good," Joanna said, though she checked again anyway. "This is a special day. A very, very special day." She didn't say more. Some things didn't need words. Because today, after 13 years, the little girl who once hid in the dark corner of a room, terrified of footsteps, terrified of faces, terrified of herself, was coming back. And she was not coming alone. Meanwhile, a black SUV cruised down the tree-lined avenue approaching the shelter. The windows were slightly tinted, not heavily, just enough to keep curious eyes from recognizing the man inside too easily. David Beckham sat in the driver's seat wearing a simple black t-shirt and a soft smile that carried a hint of disbelief. He had seen Emma grow. He had seen her fight. He had seen her change. But some parts of him still found it impossible to believe how far she had come. Beside him, in the passenger seat, sat a young woman, 18 years old, her face glowing in the warm California sun. Her hair fell gently over her shoulders in soft waves. Her posture was confident, relaxed. Her eyes, bright, expressive, beautiful, reflected both innocence and strength. Emma. No longer the child with the deep wrinkles and the weight of sorrow carved into her skin. No longer the girl afraid of mirrors. No longer the fragile soul who thought she was unworthy of being loved. She looked radiant, truly radiant. The surgeries, the treatments, the therapies, yes, they changed her appearance. They softened the harshness. They smoothed what once seemed impossible to smooth. But it wasn't the medical work alone that made her beautiful. It was her spirit, her courage, her growth, her rebirth. Emma lowered the mirror in the sun visor, taking a slow breath as she studied her reflection. "Are you nervous?" Beckham asked as he turned onto the final road before the shelter. "A little," she admitted. "I haven't seen them since I was 12. They'll barely recognize me." Beckham smiled. "They'll recognize your heart." Emma blushed and looked back out the window. "I used to leave through that door," she said softly. "That same door. I remember standing there with a sweater pulled over my face so no one would stare." "No one's going to stare today," Beckham assured her. "And if they do, it'll be because you look incredible." She laughed under her breath. "You always say that. That's because it's always true." Her laughter faded slowly, replaced by something deeper. Emotion, gratitude, memories. "Do you think," she asked quietly, "that the kids will like me?" "They'll love you," Beckham said simply. "The way everyone who really sees you does." Emma hesitated. "You really think so?" "I don't think," Beckham replied. "I know." The SUV slowed to a stop in front of the shelter. Emma stared at the building, its faded paint, the cracked walkway, the old swing set that squeaked in the wind. It felt like stepping into a dream she thought she had left behind. One she wasn't sure she wanted to remember but needed to face. Beckham placed his hand on the gear shift but didn't turn off the engine yet. "You ready?" he asked gently. Emma took a deep breath, closing her eyes for a brief moment. "I think so." "You're not the little girl hiding in the corner anymore," he said softly. "You're the young woman who walked through fire and came out brighter. Don't forget that." Emma's fingers touched the pendant around her neck, a small silver sun, a gift from Beckham on her 16th birthday. "Sonny," she whispered. "Just like you said, the sun always comes back." "And today," Beckham added, "you're the sun." When Emma stepped out of the car, the world seemed to pause. The children playing nearby slowed to a curious walk. One stopped bouncing a ball. Another tugged her friend's sleeve. A little boy whispered, "Who is she?" Emma felt their eyes on her, not with fear, not with judgment, but with curiosity. For the first time, it didn't make her want to hide. Beckham walked around the car and joined her, giving her a reassuring smile. "Go on," he said. "It's your moment." Emma took one step, then another, and then, "Emma?" a voice whispered behind the glass door. It was Joanna. Her hand flew to her mouth. Tears filled her eyes before she even pushed the door open. "Oh my God," she whispered as she stepped outside. "Emma? My sweet Emma?" Emma smiled softly. "Hi, Joanna." Joanna's legs nearly gave out as she rushed forward, wrapping Emma in a warm, trembling embrace. You're beautiful," Joanna said, pulling back just enough to see her face. "Absolutely beautiful." Emma blushed softly. "It took a long time. And every second was worth it," Joanna said. Beckham stood back, watching with the pride of a father, a brother, and a friend all at once. Soon, more staff members appeared. Some gasped, others teared up. Some simply stared in awe. Emma greeted them all with a shy smile, her voice steady, her eyes glowing. Then something unexpected happened. A little girl, no older than 5, approached timidly, holding a slightly torn teddy bear. "Hi," the girl whispered. "Are you a princess?" Emma blinked. "No," she said gently. "I'm not a princess." "You look like one," the girl said. Emma knelt slowly so she was eye level. "Thank you," she whispered. "Can I see your bear?" The girl handed it to her with absolute trust. Emma examined it with care. "He's very cute," she said. "He's lonely sometimes," the girl replied. Emma smiled softly. "Me too." "Not anymore," the girl said confidently. Emma felt her chest tighten, but in a warm, overwhelming way. Tears pricked her eyes. The little girl suddenly wrapped her arms around Emma's shoulders. It was innocent, sweet, and healing. Emma hugged her back, and something inside her, something that had been locked away for 13 years, finally opened fully. She wasn't hiding anymore. She wasn't afraid. She wasn't the girl people feared. She was someone children ran toward. When Emma stood up again, Beckham was watching her with an expression she had never seen before. Pride, joy, and something like love, not romantic, not paternal, but something pure and soul deep. "Ready to tell them?" he asked softly. Emma nodded. The staff gathered. The children sat in a circle on the courtyard ground. Even the volunteers stood quietly under the afternoon sun. Emma stepped forward. Her hands trembled for a moment, but she steadied them. "My name is Emma," she began. "Some of you remember me, but most of you don't." The children looked at her with wide eyes. "I used to live here. I was sick. My face didn't look like other kids. And I thought that meant I wasn't allowed to be happy." She paused. Beckham moved closer behind her, not touching her, just being there. "But someone believed in me," Emma continued. "Someone who saw past what I looked like. Someone who didn't run. And because of him, I got to grow. I got to heal. I got to become me." She turned slightly toward Beckham. He gave her a small nod. Emma smiled and faced the children again. "I want you all to know something. You're not broken. You're not lost. And you're not alone. You can become whoever you want to be, as long as you don't give up on yourself." One child raised his hand shyly. "How did you get brave?" Emma smiled gently. "I didn't," she said. "I just stopped being scared of being seen." Another asked, "Is that your dad?" Beckham coughed awkwardly. Emma laughed softly. "No," she said. "But he's the person who saved my life." Beckham looked down at the ground, suddenly emotional. Emma reached out and took his hand. "And he's the reason I'm standing here today." A hush fell over the courtyard. Even the wind seemed to still. Finally, Beckham cleared his throat. "Emma did all the hard work," he said. "All I did was show up. And sometimes, showing up is enough to change a life." Joanna wiped her eyes again. The children clapped, not loudly, not wildly, but in a soft, genuine, heartfelt way that felt like a warm blanket wrapping around everyone there. Emma felt tears spill down her cheeks, but she didn't hide them. She had hidden long enough. Beckham squeezed her hand. "You did it," he whispered. "No," she whispered back. "We did." As the sun dipped lower in the sky, casting golden light across the shelter, Emma looked around, at the children, the staff, at Beckham, and realized something profound. She wasn't a miracle. She wasn't a medical success story. She wasn't an object of pity. She wasn't a child defined by a disease. She was Emma. Alive. Thriving. Safe. And in that moment, she understood with absolute certainty. Her story wasn't about illness. It wasn't about surgeries. It wasn't even about survival. It was about kindness. About one act of compassion that grew quietly into a new life. Beckham draped his arm around her as they walked back to the car. "Ready to go home?" he asked. Emma smiled softly. "I am home." And under the soft California sunset, they walked forward together, two souls forever changed by the simple, powerful choice to care.